There has been a tidal wave of change in how people and companies work together. Human resource departments need to transform by leading the employee experience and shaping a workforce that will take their business to where it needs to go. EngageRocket is a startup out of Singapore that is helping HR organizations face this unprecedented change. Their software enables organizations to make better people decisions using real-time data. So CheeTung, what are some of the best organizational insights that the EngageRocket platform has been able to glean from the data you're collecting?
We look at patterns. So when we look at people who have stayed in the organization versus those that have left, they have a data trail over the past 3-6 months, or whatever it may be.
And that's just their interactions with the different systems in the business?
Their interactions. So there are two main things that we look at. So one of them is the demographics. So which departments were they from? How long have they been in the company?
Okay.
And the second one we look at is psychographics. How are they feeling on a day-to-day basis? So there are all these different listening tools that organizations use through EngageRocket to be able to understand that. So combining these, we can then identify patterns. People who stay versus people who go. And for those people who are in the organization that start to match the pattern of people who are going, then that starts to raise a little flag for us.
And do you think the hybrid work model, now that it looks like it will be permanent, is EngageRocket well positioned to capitalize on that?
Absolutely. And in fact, one of the things about moving into hybrid work is that it's actually really hard for companies, leaders, managers to maintain the same level of connection with their people.
Right.
In the past, it used to be quite simple. We'll sit across the table like this and talk to each other, and I can read your body language, all your nonverbal communications coming through. But without that, how do I know how you really feel? So what EngageRocket helps organizations do is to track that and over time understand what is that level of connection between managers and their teams at the organizational level, and ultimately to give the right kind of recommendations to managers on how they can improve that connection at scale.
Well, there's a lot of intangibles about employee engagement and morale and these types of things, but when you're talking to the CFO at one of your customers, what is that sales pitch look like in terms of an ROI?
I would love to talk to CFOs because the ROI is so clear. If you lose an employee, say at the junior ranks, the average cost of replacing that employee, if you take into account the productivity lost, the hiring costs of bringing this person in,
all the onboarding,
everything
the
else, onboarding and training, it's at least 50% of their annual salary package. That's just for one person. That's at the junior levels. If we take an organization, say 1,000, 2,000 employees, and most organizations that we work with, their salary costs tend to be 60 to 70% of their overall operating expenses.
Okay, I see. In terms of the profile of your customers.
In terms of the profile of customers.
Typically, is it a big labor input?
Actually, most organizations
labor.
End up 60, 70% anyway, either because of high salaries or because they have a lot of people in the workforce. So in such an environment, just saving 1% of their employees from quitting gives them more than 10x ROI.
And when you think of the competitive landscape, a whole lot of enterprise software companies are trying to provide tools along the lines of EngageRocket.
Yep.
So how do you differentiate from those big competitors?
So the big competitors, we really see them as collaborators because there's a lot of good information that go into these systems of record. Payroll, employee record software, leave management. There's a whole lot of information that's being collected. But where we come in is because we also track the employee experience and we make it actionable for managers. So if you had to try to understand the life of an individual frontline manager, what they had to do. Performance appraisal season's coming up. I got to find a way to talk to my team about why they got a C instead of a B. It's the very human element of the workplace, and that's where we focus on. We focus on building the ability of managers to have more of that connection. Whereas I think where a lot of the enterprise software is about maintaining strong operational processes within HR, which is very important, but it's a different space.